So I got a little bit of a different kind of video for you guys today. I recently we did a work trip, a week-long work trip in Nashville, and ended up going to this place called Game Trader. And you know what? If you're in the Nashville area, really wanted to kind of show you guys this place because it is cool as hell. Obviously, when you walk in, first thing you notice is just the massive amount of games here. And also, I don't know if you saw that little sign on the door, but they are a limited run games supplier. But it's cool. They also have figures, cool models and things. Those are some Gundam models back there. Huge wall of PS4 titles. Obviously, they have modern stuff as well as retro stuff. And then here's some of the retro stuff. And wow, I was very impressed with the selection. So this is kind of like the stuff that, is maybe a little bit more common or easy to get. But then when you turn around, some cool standees, some really cool posters. Big fan, obviously, of the Final Fantasy IV poster. Yeah, that's something that intrigues me quite a bit. But then they have the case, and the case had so many good games in it. Stuff varying prices. It's not like the case was all $100, $200 games. There was some very reasonable stuff in there. Also, they had some imports at the bottom, which was really cool. So they had imports you could get. They had rare controllers, all sorts of cool stuff. A bunch of loose stuff. They also had those homebrew Dreamcast games that are like pretty popular. Actually, I got one recently, not from here, but from a convention. But also Japanese Saturn games, which if you have a memory card plus or one of those things, you can actually play all imported games on your Saturn. They had some rare Saturn games. Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2, Knights. There's a couple of those memory cards I was talking about. Just some really good stuff. Some working designs in there. Granted, there's no case, but still, come on. It's hard to find Shining Force any other way. But some really cool stuff, like I said. And the cool thing is this case is actually like kind of double-sided, but in a way triple-sided, because they have this little area here that has some pretty rare, cool stuff in it. Bunch of handhelds. Some not so rare stuff, those little Tamagotchi things, but some amiibos that may or may not be kind of hard to get. I don't know the prices of amiibos, but they got some cool ones in here. Some that I have, some that I don't, but I kind of collect amiibos very sparingly. But it was cool to go through and check out some of the stuff they had. You have the other side of the shelf was all kind of NES and Super NES and Famicom and Super Famicom. I almost walked away with that Mega Man 5 because I do have a Famicom, but it was a little steep for my blood. Not that it wasn't worth that. It's just not something that, like, I'd be buying it for the novelty of it, not actually like buying it to play it. Like, I have Mega Man 5 on regular NES. But they had some cool stuff here. I really took a good look at some of those import games to see if anything jumped out at me that I want to check out that I don't have. Nothing did, sadly, but still a bunch of really cool Wii U stuff and all sorts of that. Some rarer games for the Wii era and GameCube, of course. It was cool, but this is a part I really liked. Is I'm a big guidebook guy, and they had a huge shelf of guidebooks. I almost got a Breath of Fire 2 guidebook to upgrade mine, but then I started thinking about it, and I was like, do I really need to spend all that money just to upgrade a guidebook I already have that's not even really like in the worst of conditions? So I decided against it, but this is when stuff got a little bit really interesting to me. So, obviously a lot of people have these loose handheld games. There's a ton of them. It'd take forever to go through it, but there's a bunch of cool games here. PSP, Vita further down, of course, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket, all that kind of stuff. These little amiibo cards. Then you got down, they had some like cool Nintendo 64 stuff. Some more import Nintendo 64 stuff, which I don't have a way to play. So, I was interested, but like, I don't have a way to play it. So I ended up kind of deciding against it. Some cool knickknacks, but this is where I was talking about a whole bunch of limited run stuff. And like, it's cool to see this in a store. They had a bunch of games, bunch of limited run games, bunch of Switch games, all sorts of stuff, a bunch of Switch games. It was actually pretty hard for me to not pull the trigger on some Switch games. It just so happened that I happened to have a lot of them. But it was cool to see them all. There's games in here that like I highly recommend to friends and on the channel. And this place had like all those games where it's like, oh yeah, any of those games that I talked about, like they're here. You could just grab them, pick them up. Once I thought, I was like, I can't be impressed anymore for the store, right? They have everything I'd ever want. A whole bunch of cool accessories, a whole bunch of stuff. And then I find this shelf here It has a bunch of video game vinyl, and I don't know if you guys know, I'm a big fan of video game vinyl. I have a ton of it. So the last thing I did though before leaving the shop was they have some gotcha machines, and I don't know, I've never really used a gotcha machine, so I don't know too much about it, but I decided to go ahead and do a pull and see what I would get from it. So they had like 8 machines to choose from. You have to buy a token from them to use it because they use special coins. But I decided on Demon Slayer because I'm a huge fan of the show. It's hard to put the coin in while also like filming. But yeah, I turned little bibble bobble, got my thing, and let's see what I ended up getting. So you're probably wondering what I got from this game store, this awesome game store. Well, I had a huge problem here. All of the really cool stuff they had, which was a lot, as you could tell from all the footage I just showed you, I kind of had. Like, I either had or it was coming. Like, some of the really cool limited run Switch stuff, like, I had ordered, like, the collector's edition version, for instance, like Scott Pilgrim, I have the KO version coming, so that's why I didn't buy that, and then several other things like that. And then other games, I just already had them. That's kind of like the double-edged sword when it comes to collecting games. Like, there comes a point where you have a lot of the stuff you're going to be finding, so that kind of sucks. However, I did not leave empty-handed. One, I love to support small and local businesses, even though it's not local to me, so like I'll always go out of my way and try to get something. And so in this case, this is a very small thing, but something that's cool to me. I actually have quite a big .hack collection, but I did not have this demo disc. I mean, it's nothing big, but it's cool. I love the .hack games on PS2. Big fan. So it's nice to have something kind of weird. Like, I love weird stuff like this, just kind of adding to the collection. But the other thing, I bamboozled myself. I should have read better. This is my fault. When it came to the gotcha machine, I was like, yeah, let's get some cool Demon Slayer stuff. I was figured to be a little figure or something because, I didn't look at the pictures good enough or didn't read Japanese. But here's the little egg thing. Open it up, and I got this. It's like a flag or something. Here's the weird thing, is I've watched all of Demon Slayer, and I don't know what the hell this is or what this represents. I mean, like, sometimes people get stuff like, oh, I don't know what this is, and like instantly I'm like, that's a fake fan. That's what, everyone knows what that is. You're just a liar. But I really don't. I've seen everything and the movie, and like I'm currently watching like the train arc based on the movie, and like I just don't know what the hell this is. And the worst part is I'm looking at like what I could have gotten, and apparently they were all flags. So I was definitely mistaken. I really figured I was getting a figure. I was dumb me for not really looking at it. Though in my defense, everything's written in Japanese on the machine, so I didn't know what I was getting. But every single one of these has characters from the show, except for the one I got. Which, I mean, like, I guess I'm like 99% sure this is probably like maybe like the crest of like the Demon Slayer Corps or his family, maybe. I just don't happen to know. But yeah, like I said, kind of bamboozled myself on that one. I should have looked better. Maybe I should have gone for one of the other gotcha machines. But hey, like I said, really cool spot, neat place to check out. If you're in the Nashville area, definitely check it out. But that's going to do it for us today, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't, please do. It'd be really cool. And as always, my friends, take it easy.